Safety Operating Procedures, SOP, drill press. You could also say standard operating procedures as well. This is not the official version. This is the test or the prototype version. I will be deleting this video and in a couple of weeks reinstalling it with active links that actually work so that we can have related documents linked to this video. Okay, stay tuned. Let's see what we got. Safety Operating Procedures, SOP, drill press. Can also be called standard operating procedures as well. In this video, we're going to try and incorporate QR codes with our standard operating procedure so that we can link the video to the documentation that's on the wall. So if a student needs to review the material, we can actually just take a picture, boom, the YouTube video comes up with the related content, and we're all good to go. Okay, let's see what we got here. Don't use the drill press unless you're authorized and trained. Safety glasses are a requirement. I'm going through this really fast. This is just the test. This will be deleted and we'll have a better voiceover. Safety boots are required. Hearing protection is required if you go over the 85 decibels. Long hair, man bun. Also facial hair. So if you got a beard or something, you got to put some kind of hat or net over top of it. Close fitting clothing is required. You can't have loose clothing. Knitted material. No knitted material is permitted in the shop. This is the most dangerous stuff that you'll ever see because it becomes entangled. Regular clothing will rip and pull off. This stuff will not. It'll get entangled and you will get entangled into the equipment. It's nasty when it happens. Rings. Don't wear any rings or jewelry. Gloves must not be worn while operating the equipment. To wear gloves, you must disconnect the power. Before operating this machine, you must have participated and completed in the safety sign-off operation form. Completed all of the reading. Before you start the machine, do a walkthrough and check to make sure that there's no slipping hazards or any other hazards present. Check the power cord on the machine. Make sure there's no damage. Someone hasn't been yanking on the cord instead of pulling it out from the stem of the cord. Check to make sure that all guarding that is on the machine is present. Do not leave the chuck key in the drill chuck. It's almost as bad as leaving the chuck key in the lathe. Know where the on-off is and also where the e-stop is. Use proper clamping procedures when you're clamping your workpiece. Select the speed and feed that's appropriate for the material and for the actual cutter that you're using. Ensure that all workpieces are securely clamped. If something's broken, report it immediately. Know how to relock the motor and reposition the motor. Make sure that the motor is in the off position when you're not using it. Do not leave the machine running. Before making adjustments, make sure everything's cleaned. Don't operate under the influence. This is a big one. Know where the e-stop is. Return all your tooling. Leave the work area when you're finished nice and neat and easy for the other people to come use it. Do not remove chips and burrs with your hands, and also do not remove chips when the machine's running. Stop the machine. Return extra material. Empty your waste bins out. Forbidden. Do not distract an operator while they're operating the equipment. Do not allow yourself to be distracted while operating the equipment. Do not remove any safety guarding. Do not use your cell phone while operating the equipment. You can use your cell phone just as long as the machine is not running. Do not, this is the second time, do not operate any equipment or go into the shop when you're under the influence of any type of drug. And that includes Red Bull. Clamp your workpiece down. Don't try and be a He-Man and hold it by hand. If something's broken, let us know. Potential hazards. If your hair gets caught in something or your fingers get caught in something, it'll pull it out. Flying chips create eye injuries. You can also get some pretty nasty cuts from the drill swarf coming up, which is your chips, and wrapping around your fingers depending on where you're pushing down. Sharp edges on the workpiece cut. Fingers being caught in pulleys. Disconnect the power before you disengage the motor to change the speeds with the belts, because you're ripping your fingers around up top, and if you accidentally turn the machine on and it's powered on, the e-stop's not on, it could rip your finger out. We don't want that. Protective equipment. The minimum is eyeglasses and work boots, but you may also need hearing protection, and never ever wear gloves while operating a drill press. We want to turn our drill on. Don't worry about the speeds it feeds right now, we just want to know how to turn the machine on. Okay, let's start with the light. If we have power connected, our light will turn on and off here. We can also turn around, hit the e-stop, release the e-stop, press the power button, and that supplies power to the machine. If this machine was turned off in the on position and I turn the power on, hit this, the spindle will turn on automatically. So always make sure that you have this in the off position before you turn the power on to the machine. Okay, now I've just finished my drilling operation that I want to do. So what I'm going to do is make sure the machine is off. Obviously it's not spinning. I want to hit the e-stop, and I want to unplug the machine. Unscrew. Do not leave the key in the chuck. That's as dangerous as having the chuck key in a lathe. Pull it out. I have loosened the motor and pulled it forward so that this pulley's loose now. See that? So now I want to pick what RPM here I want to set the belt to. So let's say I want to spin it relatively slow. What's the slowest I can spin it? We're going to say 300 RPM, which is right there. So basically I want the back cone or the back pulley to be on the top and the front pulley to be on the bottom. We're currently at 650 RPM. So if we wanted to go to 300 from there, loosen this off, pull this guy forward. We don't have to take this belt off because we're moving downward. Move this guy downward on one, then it falls down. Line it up. We're on. Pull the pulley back. Pull the motor back. Lock the motor down. And that, we're back at 300. That is how you change the RPM. To close the lid, you just pull down on this one, and she's closed. Okay, let's say we want to set a depth, and we bring this down, and we'll say right around there is we're touching off on the top of our workpiece, and we want to drill with this particular drill about 1 inch deep. We would loosen this micrometer collar off, move it to 1 inch that lines up with this line. Nip it down. We don't have to over tighten this. And when I pull down here, it hits the stop and I'm at my depth. Now if I pull really hard, I can make it slip. So make sure when we're drilling that we don't overpower our stop here, okay? And that is how you set a depth stop on a drill press. Okay, so let's say I want to raise and lower the table up and down. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other side of the machine here. I'm going to release the lock. Okay. Now this table with the lock released will swivel. It'll go this way. It'll swivel with the lock released. So I'll turn it a small amount over there. And then all I have to do is turn this handle here up or down. And that is how you raise and lower the table on a drill press. Okay. Say we want to tilt the table. Okay, we want to tilt the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the side here. We do have a reading, an axial reading. What we need to do is go underneath the table, and it's this bolt right here that you loosen and tighten to rotate the table. Okay, let's say we want to spin the table around. Okay, what we would do is come here, loosen this guy off, and that allows us to spin the table. Okay, on most drill presses, if you want to remove the chuck and put a different chuck in, or a drill in, you lower the quill down, and you put a drill drift into here, which will pop out the actual drill. In some cases, you do have to turn the spindle until all of them line up. And in this case, we're lucky it lines up perfectly. There, if you can see the top, the tang of the actual drill chuck. Like I said earlier, this is just the test portion. This will be deleted and a more polished version will be put up. If there's any issues in here, please let me know. Fire me off an email so that I know what's gone wrong or if I missed something. But this is basically the whole video and the full checklist. I need your input. Thanks, guys.